I get asked all the time, if the Brewers don't win a World Series championship, what will be their downfall? That bullpen has got to get healthy. Get to that next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody. Great to have you along here on a Wednesday afternoon game coming up. My name is Chuck Freimund, host of Locked On Brewers, longtime sportscaster here in the state of Wisconsin, proud host of Locked On Brewers. Coming up on the show today, bullpen usage. It's a concern of many out there, me as well. It's been talking about it all year, but it's kind of coming to a head, especially with one guy. Get to that coming up here in a little bit. Pat Murphy. We are seeing the college coach in Pat Murphy. Talk about that. We'll look ahead to Freddie Peralta's start facing Merrill Kelly. That is going to be a tough one for the Brewers coming up as they avoid the sweep in Texas. All right. Aaron Ashby has got to get, they can't be using this guy every day. All right. They used him in the fifth inning. He had a rough go on. He gave up a couple of runs, 4 hits in relief of Chad Patrick. Can't be running Ashby out there every day. He is taxed, and it finally took its toll. He's been great for the team out of the bullpen, but I mean, we're seeing the goggled Aaron Ashby way too much, and nothing against them, but man, we just can't be using that guy as much as they're using him. All right, got a postseason, and I get it because of injuries. Mears on the injured list, Miller gone, DL Hall, got to get him back, and McGill. Well, the load trickles down to a bunch of other guys as well, including Myers and Ashby. And Myers is starting to get a lot of use as well. So, yeah, it's a little bit of concern with me right now. This past weekend in the series against Pittsburgh, the Brewers had some longer starts, and they were able to use secondary and third-string bullpen guys, which was great. Now, I look back on this. Uribe hasn't pitched since September 5th. Koenig, September 5th. Robbie Z, September 4th. Ashby pitched tonight. I've already said he's pitching way too much. Myers pitching tonight. Fetty pitched on Saturday. He's a guy that, let's face it, we don't want Fetty in a game unless it's a blowout or unless you absolutely have to. Grant Anderson pitched tonight. I think there's a fear among Brewer Nation when that guy comes into the ball game. Although the numbers show that Grant Anderson has been great. He's off the injured list. And, I don't have any problem with Grant Anderson. He's done a nice job. Maybe earlier in the year, I was a little worried, looking over the coffee table, trying to figure this guy out. But I like what he's done so far. And Payamps has got no trust of anybody. Should never be in there in any score that's less than 9-1. But the Brewers need to get DL Hall and McGill back in this bullpen rotation because that drops everybody else down. It drops everybody else down. And the Koenig and the Ashby and guys in Uribe, not as much pressure on those guys. And those guys have been great so far, but I feel like all season long, some of those shorter starts are starting to stack up. Now, the Brewers got Peralta going on Wednesday in Texas, and we know Peralta has been great with the 16 wins, but man, those high pitch counts are a problem. They are a problem, and they can't afford one on Wednesday. Although they can, in a sense, though, they're going into an off day on Thursday, and Koenig, Ashby, Koenig and Uribe are good to go. Koenig and Uribe, good to go. Ashby got to stay away from him. Myers, let's back off on him a little bit as well. And Robbie Z, if you need another lefty coming out of the bullpen, Robbie Z is good to go. But man, I can't stress enough, McGill and Hall need those two guys, especially McGill. Hall gives them some length in mid relief. Hall coming back would greatly take some of the pressure off Ashby. They need those two guys back. And Mears, of course, when Mears comes off, another guy in that bullpen. But Hall and McGill, two important guys. And Hall, a guy you could use as an opener as well. Now, the Brewers had to use Chad Patrick, and the Brewers have lost 9 in a row with Chad Patrick on the hill. And I feel some of you guys are losing some confidence in him, and I get that. Gave up a 2-run home run to Michael Hellman. I'm tired of talking about this guy. It's been 2 days, and I feel like Michael Hellman is already becoming a household name with the Brewers because this guy's doing everything. Making catches out in center field. He's throwing guys out of the base paths and everything, stealing home run balls from Turang, and hit a 2-run blast off Chad Patrick. When the Brewers appeared to regain control of that game up 3-1, gave up a home run to Hellman, and I was like, my God, they cannot get this guy out. Murphy joked in the locker room after the game at his post-game press conference that we're going to intentionally walk this guy all 4 times on Wednesday. All 4 times we're going to intentionally walk. But I really thought when they took the 3-1 lead, all right, Contreras, that 2-run single, I thought, okay, here we go. Here we go. And then they give it right back with those 4 runs in the bottom of the inning. And Patrick and Ashby. And Ashby, I'm cutting him some slack because, again, they're using him way, way too much. Way too much. But it'll get settled down. Patrick came up here. I expect a roster move coming up on Wednesday. I've got to believe they'll send him back down and maybe call up some more reinforcements with the bullpen. That's what the Brewers do. That's what they're going to have to do here. There's no use to keep Patrick around. They'll send him down and they'll call up another bullpen arm. The Brewers did make a roster move. Well, a couple of them. We knew that Hoskins was going to get activated. We told you about that yesterday. They've also optioned Rodriguez down to AAA and Ziegler. That was the likely choice. Ziegler, anybody else, if Ziegler did not get optioned, would be a surprise. And the reason why 2 guys got optioned because Patrick was activated just before the game. So he was at it. Hoskins was at it. Rodriguez and Ziegler sent down. And that means with Ziegler, Collins now becomes a part of the infield. I know he's been playing mostly outfield, but Monasterio is the number 1 backup along the infield, and Collins becomes another infielder in case they need him. Collins, a guy, you can count on that guy. No problem with him, although he might be a little rusty in the infield. He's a guy that you could use. You're not using, there's no way you're using Vaughn over at third base. Not at all. I know he took some BP the other day at third base, but you're not using him over at third base. So Hoskins is back. He did pop out in the 6th and then kind of got a ball in on him, busted inside, and popped out to the catcher. His first at bat since July 5th. And Hoskins, before the game, was asked about his role on the team, and he handled it like a champ. Okay, he's not going to go pouting off and say, well, I want to have my starting job back. I shouldn't have to lose my starting job. He said they're going to go. He goes, I understand they're going to roll with the guys that they have. That's what he said. Handled it well. All right, Hoskins is not going to be here for a long time. Let's face it. This is whenever the season ends, the Brewers are not going to pick up their side of an $18 million option, right? And he's going to get $4 million as the buyout. It's a mutual option. Hoskins, this is it. And he's likely going to be riding it out. But I just had this gut feeling we're going to be expecting some big at-bats from Hoskins down the stretch, and he's going to find his way in there. Seems like that's the way it always works. We say that this guy's going to be coming off the bench, and before you know it, he's in a big moment. He's in a big moment. So he understood, says his thumb is doing fine, but good thing, he's not, he has, what else is he going to say? He knows this team has got a shot at the World Series, and he's not going to come back and play first base. They've made a dedication to Vaughn over at first base. Vaughn is, the old Wally Pipped. We've been talking about that, not necessarily on the show, but that's like they'll say, well, Vaughn comes in as Gehrig replaced Wally Pipp back in with the Yankees. And Gehrig went on to never play another game, miss another game at first base for the Yankees, as the old story. So when you hear that old Wally Pipp story, that's what people are talking about there. Wally Pipp was the Yankee first baseman, and then Gehrig came in and had that consecutive game streak until obviously Cal Ripken broke that. But Bowers, who had a pinch hit home run, about a 443-foot blast in the 9th inning to bring the Brewers within 1. They're not doing anything with him. He is on this postseason roster. He's on the roster right now. Bowers is the left-handed bat. He was 6 of 12 for his last 12 coming in. Remember, he had that 3 for 41 skid. Bowers appears healthy, ready to go, and Bowers is on this team. So the Brewers will ride it out with 3 first basemen, and they'll find playing time as a bat off the bench for Rhys Hoskins. And again, what more? He was not going to pout about it. He was not going to complain about it. That's where he is. He's a veteran. He understands the situation. He's never been in this spot before, but he knows he's not in Milwaukee for a long time. He's in here for a short time, and to contribute whatever. And Murphy doesn't want to hear any of that anyway. You're right. Murphy, talking before the game, said, I don't want to hear about magic numbers or any of that stuff. He brings a college coach mentality, as I've been telling you about. He said, I want my guys coming in here with a baseball frame of mind. I don't want to talk about hitting streaks. I don't want to talk about this, that. I don't want to hear guys talking about that they need a day off or whatever. It's my job. Murphy says, we want our guys coming in here with a frame of mind of baseball. He does not want any let-ups. Obviously, the mistakes of Monday night, was not too happy about it. Rangers ran into some luck. That's baseball in Tuesday night's game, right? I'm not going to say, well, good luck. Brewers have had plenty of lucks. Brewers had some hard hit outs on Tuesday. That is baseball. Can't sit here and say, oh, geez, the things didn't go their way. Rangers still earned the win over the Brewers. They made the plays. The Brewers had some loud outs, but the bottom line, like even that last out, Yelich hit the straightaway center field. It fell into the Rangers' glove in center field. So no use complaining about it. No bad breaks. Brewers have got plenty of great breaks. All right. They are under the 500 mark since, I believe they're 2 games under the 500 mark since that 14-game winning streak. I know there's some concern for Brewer fans out there. I see it on Twitter. Brewer fans are wondering what's going on with our team. We didn't expect them to win at a 900 pace or win 40 or 50 like on the clip they were on. But yeah, a little bit under 500. But that's the way things sometimes even out in baseball. I'm not too worried about it. I don't get upset and say, well, they're sub 500. Still think the Brewers are doing a lot of things correctly. There was a scenario that they could have clinched on Monday night, a playoff spot. To me, it's not a big deal. I mean, of course, it's a big deal that clinching a playoff spot, but it's more of a big deal once they clinch the NL Central and, most importantly, getting that number 1 seed in the National League. So they have home field advantage throughout. In fact, the number 1 seed throughout the postseason, I want to get. And it's certainly there. They've come too far. They can't throw it back. I'd love to see them play over 500 baseball as well, but hey, teams like the Texas Rangers are trying to get in the postseason. That's a good team they're facing there. The team that's fighting hard. The fans are into it in Texas. And that's the way it's gone for the Brewers in the first 2 games. All right, come back. We'll talk about this series coming up, the finale. Freddie on the mound and Merrill Kelly going for the Rangers. He's going to be tough. I'll tell you about some of the numbers. Not very pretty against the Brewers. The Brewers hitters against Merrill Kelly. We'll get to that next here on Locked On Brewers. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel, the NFL season is here and rolling, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff and with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers, you bet $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Use it at anything you want. Free plays, $300. You want to bet on live plays or whatever, FanDuel is not going to prevent you from doing any of that. Some places you go, you can't use your free plays on certain things. There's no restrictions with FanDuel. You ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now for the NFL and college, which are starting here in a couple of more days, resuming week 2 of the NFL season. Visit FanDuel.com. Get started. FanDuel.com. Place your first $5 bet, and that wins. You'll get $300 in bonuses into your account, but you can't get that unless you download the FanDuel app now and start playing with FanDuel and check out their terrific live betting. Nutrafol. You'll probably see millions of ads for hair growth products and thought, sure, like that stuff actually works. Well, there's so many products out there. It's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything to you. That's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. The #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand tested by over 1.5 million people. It's just not the hype. It's a supplement clinically tested that targets the root causes of thinning and shedding with a proactive approach. See thicker, stronger hair, less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. That's Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off your first month subscription. Free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com. Nutrafol.com. Enter the promo code Locked On MLB. Nutrafol.com, promo code Locked On MLB. Chuck Freimund here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. This is the part of the show where I tell you where you get our podcast. You get it on Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you download audio podcasts. We're the number one Brewers podcast on the internet because of you great Brewer fans out there. Did you see the tweet I put out on Chuck Freimund on X, on Twitter? This podcast has grown by 368% over the last year. 368%. It's the third best, highest growing podcast on the Locked On network. And that includes basketball, baseball, football, all teams, college. It's one of the highest growing podcasts on the internet because you great Brewer fans and because of our great Brewer team out there. But you support the podcast, and I thank you every day for doing that. And if you listen to us on the audio platform, go to our growing YouTube page, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. Please, if you're already on audio, get us on video as well. We're trying to get over 7,000 subscribers to Locked On Brewers. And, of course, all the content, as always, is always free. All right. Good to see Hoskins back. First at bat since early July. Thanks for making us, by the way, your first listen to every day, all you everydayers here on Locked On Brewers. Freddie Peralta gets his chance at 17 wins tomorrow, gunning for 20, be the first pitcher since Teddy Higuera in 1986 on a bad Brewers team, got 20 wins. Peralta's going to do this on a good team if he keeps it going. But, man, the guy facing him is the crafty old veteran Merrill Kelly. Hard to believe he's 36 years old already, but he is. Having another good year, 11-7, a 3.16 earned run average. I look up and down on his game logs, and they're all quality starts, long quality starts, 6 innings, 7 innings, lots and lots of quality starts. His last start, last Friday night against Houston, he went 7 innings, allowed 5 hits. And former Arizona Diamondbacks pitcher, tormented the Brewers in his days with the Diamondbacks. And he's got some great numbers against the Brewers. But he's going to make his 30th start against Milwaukee this year, 30th start of the season against Milwaukee coming up on Wednesday afternoon. The numbers aren't good. Get this, Christian Yelich, lifetime against Merrill Kelly, is 2 for 20. Right-handed pitching, Merrill Kelly. 6'2", about 205. Really, really good pitcher. I was looking back at the game logs. The last time the Brewers really took it to this guy was in 2019 when they battered him around on the hill. But other than that, you look at he made his last start against the Brewers back on September 21st of last year. Gave up 6 innings and gave up 6 hits. 2 hits, I should say, 2 hits over 5 innings back last September. Freddie Peralta gets the ball for Milwaukee. I feel good about it. And we'll tell you about the last time the Brewers have lost the first 2 games of a series. It's a long time ago. That's a good thing. We'll get to that coming up next as well here on Locked On Brewers. Game time. Maybe you want to go to the games this weekend. Against the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals are here for first of 3. Friday. Saturday night's game is 7:15. I notice. That's kind of an old school start on a Saturday night. I don't know why it's 7:15, but it's a 7:15 start on Saturday night. I don't know if that's because of TV or what. Usually Brewer games on Saturdays are 6:10 starts. Summertime, 3:10, but this one's a 7:15 start. Reminds me of the old days when on a Saturday night the Brewers would start. Well, actually, every night game was like a 7:35 start. So imagine that. 7:35 on a Tuesday night. You'd be out at County Stadium watching Brewers baseball. Except in the spring, in April and May, some of those would be 6 o'clock starts. But for the most part, 7:30. So game times on Brewers games have moved up an hour over the years because normally they're 6:40 during the week. But Friday night, 7:05, Saturday, 7:15, and then Monday, the 1:10 start. So what I'm getting at is game time. You want to go to the game this weekend, use the Gametime app, because when it gets closer to game time, those ticket prices are starting to drop. You always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time at the best price. All the fees are included, so the price you see is what you pay. No surprises with Gametime. You're not going to get to the end of the app and they're going to add $25, $30 extra dollars. So download the Gametime app, create an account, use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, the promo code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB. $20. You buy $70 worth of tickets, you pay them $50. Swipe, tap, and ticket. Go download the Gametime app. And it's just not Brewers tickets. They got all sports. They got concert tickets. You name it. All there on the Gametime app. Down the stretch we come here on Locked On, first part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Brewers have been so good. They have not lost the first 2 games of a series since the end of July, when the Miami Marlins, I almost said the Miami Hurricanes. The Miami Marlins came in and won the first 2 games, and we're on the verge of a sweep. We're actually leading in that Sunday afternoon game. The Brewers came back and rallied and won a game. So that's the last time the Brewers have lost the first 2 games of a series. Pretty incredible, right? That's how good it's been. You look at these weekend series, the Brewers last weekend, they swept the series from Pittsburgh. Toronto, they won the first 2 games before losing on a Sunday. They are the best road team in baseball for a reason, because they just go out and get the job done. Get the job done. I was afraid to see if there was limited panic on the Brewers tonight. And I feel like, and that's why we talked about it, the bullpen. The bullpen is definitely an issue with the guys on the injured list. They get these guys healthy. They get Mears back. They get DL Hall back. They get McGill back. I think they're going to be all right. Just need some longer starts, similar to what we saw last weekend against Pittsburgh. It's going to do it for the show, guys. I know it's an afternoon game, 1:30. Hope you're able to consume this entire podcast. I made it a little shorter today, because I know it's a busy day on Wednesday and you want to get back to the ballpark this weekend. Off day Thursday. We'll still do a podcast on Friday morning. We'll do a podcast on Friday morning. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be taking your questions on Friday morning. So get those questions. You have some questions for me for Friday morning? Get those to me. I will answer some of those. Some of you guys have been writing questions and I've been getting back to you. Always hit me up on Twitter, Chuck Freimund, Freimund. But for questions on Friday, maybe you want to write me Thursday and let me know. And we'll take those questions on Friday morning, on Friday morning's podcast, because the Brewers have an off day, a needed off day on Thursday. It's going to do it, everybody. My name is Chuck Freimund. Thanks for listening to Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day.